going to wash contaminated hazardous waste, whatever that is, further downstream. The concern we have downstream, I have downstream, when you think about it, is the fact that the town of Walkhill, in fact, the village of Goshen, have wells right alongside the Walkhill River. I don't know how much that would impact that or not if we start washing hazardous waste down there. I don't want to be the one who gave permission to do that without that. Our law requires us in the floodway for a technical review to be done prior to issuing the permit to determine that there's going to be no problems with that. So what I did was, in response to this, in the meeting I had with Mr. Danway, with Mr. Hickok, with Mr. Clippy at separate times, is that I went ahead and sent to Mr. Sumner, asking them that they give us a technical review saying that there will be no problems with the work that they propose to do. At the meeting up in DEC, they proposed no longer to do any clear cutting while we're down there. They proposed to do selective cutting, and we'll go down there with the DEC. But even with selective cutting, I'm not sure to what degree that will impact the landfill, if at all. But until we get some kind of technical review, I think that we are stuck with not being able to give a permit out.
Yeah, I was reading through the letters, and I went back to Dave Church, the county planner, which in item 1 of his potential flood mitigation project, he says, another factor that could be lowering the flow rates at this site is potential slumping in the Orange County landfill, which is immediately adjacent to the river from majority of the river from Pelican Island Bridge to 17F. Then I go to Mr. Janeway, who is the head of the DEC, the region 3, and he says, and this is floodplain item 1, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. He talks about the 75-acre landfill bearing down on the silt and clay substrate. In essence, the slope is seeking a more stable configuration. To the extent that the erosion force of the river removes the slump block, the lateral support is removed and the slope is further destabilized. Removing vegetation from the islands in the river channel could conceivably accelerate this erosion. Clearing and widening this section of the channel for flood control purposes may be counterproductive to the slope stability standpoint. And then I further went on to look at what you wrote to everyone. The Goshen Town Code requires that all work proposed in a floodway have a technical evaluation to demonstrate that such encroachment shall not result in any increase in flood levels during the occurrence of the base flood discharge. This would also have to be documented so that it would not lead to damage from the flooding or other properties as a result. Dennis, I mean, we're talking liability here. Can you kind of comment on all this?
Yeah, no, I've had a number of meetings and discussions with Neil and other parties about the issue, and as I mentioned to the supervisor previously, we're going to need, if not from the DEC, some engineering work and some information, if you will, from consultants, ours or theirs, vis-a-vis any application that comes in on Twitter. Because they're going to have to be, within reason, limited and or strictly observed when the permits are issued. Because again, apparently this is a more serious problem than I thought. I thought that the county had that land under control and closed for some years.
See, this is what...
There's a picture in here from
no, I see that.
1990 where it's been an issue starting back then.
Oh yeah, that's right. I thought they had it under control. Again, I was under the impression they had it under control.
I was too. I was in the impression it was still easy debris and this and that. When you showed me the photograph of it being halfway into the river, I just didn't know that.
I didn't know that until probably 2 months ago when I first met Deborah Church's thing, and I didn't worry about that because it was just a study. I did get very much concerned for the town's sake when I got the letter from Willie Janeway.
Well, I just wonder if we shouldn't somehow start also requesting of the county. It's their property and their landfill, and find out. I mean, because this is something that certainly beyond our
area of expertise.
Area of expertise. And certainly, on the other hand, I'm really wanting to participate in this flood protection program, such that we mitigate the flood. I mean, this is a real serious problem.
Have we got any response back from your correspondent?
No, I do know that the DEC who received, a couple of them from the DEC received my letter as a carbon copy, and I know that they were talking to each other today for at least an hour or so there. I have no outcome from that, but I do know that they were doing it when I spoke there this week.
I would certainly think that they would have some staff members, who can access them to help us.
Mr. Janeway said that he thought that there was somebody from the county, Mary Beth or something like that, I guess was an engineer or something. He thought somebody from DPW was available, possibly. I'm not sure how he got that idea. Certainly when I spoke to him last Monday, he was of that opinion that there may be somebody in the county available to do such a technical.
Yeah, and I think that the county needs to be contacted. I don't know whether the DEC is doing that at the present time, or in the next course of events.
I don't feel too good about this. I mean, the DEC and the Corps of Engineers have been kind of all let's do this study, and in the meantime, the farmers and the people who depend on this river draining, we've been cleaning for years, and also we find we've got a problem like this. Any other?
Yeah, it looks to me like, I mean, this is like a Pandora's box issue, whereas the issue that we're dealing with is not really the issue anymore. It's a lot bigger, and we have to fly higher, and we'll need all the technical expertise from the people that really have it to see what the projected problem will be for the future and how they're going to be fixed. This is county property. We should at least start there, and probably they'll have to go up, because this is a huge problem. It's not just a clearing. We're way beyond that point. We need the technical information so that this thing does not become a real disaster.
It's my understanding, and I'm no scientist by any means or engineer, that one of the issues, a potential problem, is a further acceleration, if you will, of the erosion.
Right.
The speed, if you will, or the sort of velocity in the water.
And the damage it'll do for the communities downstream. And, I mean, that's the whole point of this, and how much the liability is for us up here.
Who's downstream? Certainly Montgomery.
Montgomery has a beach. On the Walker River. They may or may not have a beach.
Well,
they may not use it, but they do have a public beach down there. Just recently, I believe they opened it. Town of Walkill, as I understand it, Town of Walkill and the Village of Goshen both have their wells in the sand and gravel next to the river. So I don't know whether that's under the influence or not.
Well, I just wonder if a lot of this flooding we've experienced for the last 3 or 4 years is a consequence of this thing slipping under. You don't see it; it's underwater. If that's not what we've been cleaning trees and wringing our hands and all this thing, well, that's the problem, debris. When in fact it might be something else. Okay.
And the other thing we have to be concerned with too is that if we don't control our own stuff, and we don't do the right thing with the permits and that we lose our residents actually lose the ability to buy flood insurance. So that is a penalty if we don't do it. All the systems. And we have Celery Avenue in that whole area, and then we have Arcadia Hills, which is basically 1/3 of the probably in the floodplain area. But we do have a lot of requirement for our residents to make sure we don't skip this.
Maybe we can do this, if we can proceed on, try to get his technical answer as soon as we can, keep the board informed.
Sure, the county will have jurisdiction over that. DPW?
May I have the microphone?
Oh, you heard that mic come up.
I thought you did. Thank you, Dennis. I know you.
Neither you or I.
Shouldn't we also be looking at it if it's left unchecked?
Oh,
that's the way it is right today. I mean, that's all going.
Exactly. That's what he's talking about.
I think we have a problem.
That's okay.
That's what I was alluding to.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's left unchecked. It's flashing now the way it is.
Yeah.
Might get worse, but okay. We get enough for Irish.
Let me start off with Rory Mice, Chairman of the Soil and Water Conservation District. I'm here speaking as Chairman for Soil and Water Conservation District. We have undertaken,
Well, you identify just for the tech, we know who you are.
My name is Tom Palucci. I'm the Chairman of the Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District. speaking as. And going back with the project, we've had almost an annual flooding up in Pine Island and our constituents in Goshen. And while there is a long-term large plan that will